Mobile Suit Gundam, which is many regard as like not necessarily the start, but the definitive real robot anime that kind of dictated what's kind of come since. But Tomino did a lot of other really interesting series after Gundam that were not related, that are very different. So Idion, which was a crazy super robot anime with a mecha that can cut planets in half and fire black holes and destroy arms of the Milky Way.
Who's making the robots? Or are they
so
beings?
in the case of Idion, they're made by this ancient race, and effectively Idion is kind of like a god. But this is what's different. So when you go to something like Mobile Suit Gundam, you have two sides. It's a civil war in space, and you have, the mecha are made in factories, right? On the opposing sides.
Right.
Now, in Aura Battle of Dunbine, what was interesting about that is it starts a trend called, it's isekai, which is kind of an alternate reality. So whenever you see things like Narnia, where kids end up in a fantasy world, that is what in Japan would be called isekai. So, and Aura Battle of Dunbine is kind of like that, where Japanese motocross motorbike rider is transported to a fantasy world called Byston Well along the Aura Road, and he is kind of drafted into this war between rival medieval houses, which are using these people from Upper Earth, as it's called, to have their auras power and pilot these mecha, which are called aura battlers, and they're kind of built from the carcasses of dead giant insects and dragons, and so
I think you had me at motorbike.
So I've actually got one here. So here we go. So this is the titular Aura Battler Dunbine. There we go. Woo. And as you can see, he's kind of based on a beetle with a kabutomushi head.
Yeah.
And he's got wings and everything. Oh, he's flopping around. But yeah, so this was a very different kind of real robot anime that Tomino did, and it's kind of more of a fantasy based. But what's interesting is it's because obviously the people from the Upper Earth, come down there from like our real world.
Okay.
And so you actually have this kind of clash of cultures between this fantasy medieval world with sort of very strange technology and then us. And then on top of that, you have the fact that all of the pilots kind of are effectively using their soul to pilot these incredibly powerful mecha.
Right. And then are they grappling, or are they flying and shooting at each other, or both?
Well, they're flying, shooting, and they've got swords and they hit each other. And they also have huge aura battleships later on in the series, which are incredibly powerful. And then there's a big twist, which I don't really want to spoil it, but